Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmerton and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And kinda got flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football. This for the football.
All right, everybody, welcome back here. It is the Week 6 edition here at the Crow's Nest. Sorry, it's sponsored here by Sposito Insurance. My name is Sam Torres. Thanks for joining us as we get ready. I'll tell you what, halfway through this football season, what a year it has been already. A lot of county teams with ups and downs, some finding late success, some finding early success. But one thing I can tell you folks is it's conference football time right here in this county. And as we started some crossover play in the CVC Lake division going against that Chagrin division, we are going to find our player of the week this week. It is a man that is no stranger to success in this area. He's been a starter for this team for 4 consecutive years. He's got more stripes on his jacket than I'll ever get. Our player of the week this week is Cage Bozar, or NASCAR, like I like to call him, because he's got the defenses running in circles.
Good.
You're good. I can hear you. All right. So, Cage, what is going on, my friend? How are you feeling after getting the hump off your guy's back and grabbing that first win?
We're feeling pretty good. We just got to lock in and be ready for next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Every week is about locking in. You got a big one this week as you get ready for that CVC Lake division play. It's a tough conference. It's a tough conference. I think it's very well, all the teams are pretty close when it comes to talent. You know, you've got some big guys out there like the Geneva Eagles and Madison, some teams that are really, really finding success early. But, when I watch this Falcons team take the field, it doesn't seem like you guys are afraid of anybody.
We try not to be we can't underestimate a team, but we can't think a team's too good. We just got to go out and play how we know how to play. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, that's one of the things you guys do. I maybe everybody else is doing this. I just know that you guys, I get to see the pictures and I get to follow you around, is your off-season work. The off-season work you guys put in, whether it's going into 7-on-7s, doing these drills and that sort of thing, has really come and made you guys a better football team. How has it helped you going out there? Because you guys have gone against some competition that guys around here haven't seen.
Yeah, we like to do summer workouts and whatever to understand how the scheme's going to work, how we're going to actually play, and going to 7-on-7s to communicate with each other on the field. So, our secondary knows how to play with each other.
Well, yeah, you talk about the secondary, but let's talk a little bit about the offensive side of the ball as well. You go out there last week, 7 catches, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns. You've got a quarterback right now that's just a junior, and this kid is red hot. Talk about the relationship between you and Dylan.
All the summer workouts, we try to 7-on-7s, we understand each other a little bit better now. The first few weeks were rough. We're starting to understand each other, understand how each other play. You know how it goes.
Absolutely. Well, you come into your senior year as a 4-year guy. You're going to get that letter this year, obviously, I would think. I don't know what the rules are at Jefferson, but if he hasn't gotten a letter, I never would have lettered. But, you come into this year, you guys had some big-time 7-on-7 work, including going out to Erie, playing some guys right here in Shaw, big-time guys on the defense. What were some of the things you and him worked on over the summer together?
We just run routes. We go, Coach Hanna calls off practice. We go up to the field some days. I run some fade balls. He throws them nice. I catch them. I usually score. That's just how it works now.
So, you talk about the fade ball, and obviously you are not afraid to go over the middle, probably scaring the death out of your parents because you go in the middle and, it doesn't matter if they're 300 pounds or 130 pounds, you're catching the ball and running the same. But, what is your favorite route to run? Do you like going over the middle and getting busy, or do you like to just show off the wheels?
It doesn't matter the route, really. It just depends how Dylan throws the ball and how our line blocks. Any route, I'm going to get open, and everyone knows that.
I love it. I'll tell you what, no shortage of confidence, that's for sure. And I think a lot of that comes in, you've been a starter on this team since your freshman year. Coming in, I think you started later in the year as a freshman, but definitely found some time, with that great team. And, you've bounced between quarterback and wide receiver, primarily playing receiver.
Yeah.
But you've gotten some time at quarterback. Do you think that time at quarterback has actually helped you as a wide receiver?
Yeah, of course. Like, being able to see the field as a quarterback is way different than a wide receiver. Quarterback, you understand how, if you're playing wide receiver, you understand how you want the ball.
Yeah.
So when you play quarterback, you know how to throw it to your receivers.
And you guys have a really talented receiving core this year.
Yeah.
It's you, Devin Salinas, Joel Navarro, and we can't forget Terry Brown.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of guys who can make plays in a lot of different ways. Do you think that time at quarterback helped you with the spacing as well?
Yeah, of course. I try to help them how to run their routes. They're picking it up. They understand. I understand. We just know how to do it. Then Dylan knows how to understands how to throw the ball to us.
Yeah, and I will always go back to, a lot of people kind of poo-poo on 7-on-7s.
Yeah.
And I think if you're an offensive lineman, yeah, you can poo-poo on it.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're a defensive lineman, go ahead. But I think when it comes to pure wide receiver, defensive back, and definitely quarterback route, I don't think there's any better way to practice except against each other.
Yeah, of course.
So, of all these 7-on-7s you guys have done, and you guys have gone all over the place. I mean, the gas mileage you guys have put under to get these 7-on-7s is astronomical. Which one is your favorite that you've been to so far?
That we ever played?
Yeah.
I
didn't prep him for this one. I prepped him for a couple, but this one is going to catch him off guard.
Cleveland Heights was cool because, Cleveland talks a lot. You start understanding how different communities work. It's fun, but we all respect each other. They respect us. We respect them.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of the game. People sometimes get caught up a little bit in the chitter chatter, and that's all fine and well. But once the whistle is blown, you do a great job of dropping it, leaving it on the field, shaking hands, and keeping it that way.
Yeah, you just gotta have what's it called? Sportsmanship.
Yeah,
everyone after the game, you just become friends. It's not that big of a deal, win or lose.
That's exactly it. You guys are enemies for 60 minutes, and it can be all good and well afterwards.
Yeah.
So, you're a multi-sport athlete. You have been since you've been in high school. Primarily in track, you have made a big name for yourself there as well. Talk a little bit about track and how that kind of helped you with football.
Just really with the speed. I'm not really a good 400 runner, but Coach Furman.
Guess what? I'm not either.
Coach makes me run it a few times, and I hate him for it. It helps me in the long run.
So you don't like the 400. What event do you like running the most?
The 100.
The 100. The 100. I'll tell you what. I can remember. I can remember at the combine this year. You said you've never looked at the back of a track jersey.
Nah, not really. No.
So, you're a multi-sport athlete. You did some wrestling early in your high school career as well. You play on both sides of the ball, wide receiver, defensive back. I think they even put you in at some linebacker at times. I know either that or you're getting nosy on the line. Which side of the ball do you like to play more? Do you like to lay the hits or do you like to get away from them?
It depends who we're playing. Really. Either side's fun when everyone else is doing their job. When we play offense, if the line's doing their job, if quarterback's doing their job, and we get some yards, it's fun there. Then we start making tackles, being hype and all that. It's fun doing that.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about that as well. When you talk about the culture at Jefferson,
Yeah.
one of the things that I've noticed is the celebration of everybody,
Yeah.
the celebration of everybody's tackle, everybody's touchdown, whether you made it, the JV kid made it, or
Yeah.
whatever. Talk a little bit about that and how Coach Hannah wanted to make sure you guys are into that.
We all want to be close. Like all want to understand each other. We all want to become a family. That's all.
That's what it is. I mean, you guys have a bunch of acronyms out there. There's
Yeah.
grit, BTC, family. I mean, there's a whole
Yeah.
bunch of them. You guys trademark it. It might pay
Yeah.
for the new turf you guys are going to get in,
Maybe.
5 years. So, coming into this year, you had a tough junior year.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep your head in the game, especially a guy like you that even through that tough year, you always found a way to get into the end zone, to make those plays. How do you keep that tenacity in those games where maybe a lot of kids would just kind of push it to the side?
Um, it's hard to do, but like really, if you have a good mindset and everyone's following you, everyone will understand. Like we can win next week, even if they don't think we are, we can win next week. You just got to be a leader in that sense.
Yeah, and let's go into that leadership. So, you go into that junior year. I always say freshman year you're finding yourself.
Yeah.
Sophomore year you continue. Junior year you established yourself. Now this year you're the guy. They got to look to you. They're looking for leadership qualities. What are some things that you wanted to make sure you did this year as one of a few seniors on the team?
Yeah. No, I want to make sure I hype everyone up from the JV kids to the varsity to the other senior. Like hyping up Dylan, hyping up the O line, D line, no matter who it is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I've noticed you gotten a lot more vocal. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure you talked too much as a
Yeah.
freshman. I can remember that interview.
Yeah.
But this year you've gotten a lot more vocal, a lot more sure of yourself out there, and it's great to see. Still half of a season and hopefully more. Playoffs aren't off the table yet,
Yeah.
baby. But you're halfway through this regular season, and you've had a pretty great career at Jefferson. What is your favorite moment in Falcon football?
It has to be West Branch when we beat West Branch at Niles. It was it felt like a movie because as soon as after we won, it started snowing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
I was
yeah,
there
no,
doing the
yeah.
interview with Coach Hannah, and no snow during the game.
Yeah, no.
But
snow.
you guys were holding off the weather.
Yeah, it was a perfect night. It was a perfect night.
What was it like playing in that game? Because, let's not make any bones about it. There are
Oh, yeah.
favorites, and then there was what West Branch was in that
Yeah.
game.
No, it was stressful. Like dealing with Coach Hannah sometimes, it gets stressful. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he finds a way to get the absolute best
Yeah.
out of you guys, no matter what you guys are doing, no matter how much the odds are stacked against you. And, you've had the privilege of playing in two separate conferences.
Yeah.
You guys play in that monster of an NE8 conference for your first 2 years. And now you guys are in the CVC Lake.
Yeah.
I would say equally as difficult. I think,
Yeah.
there's teams in both conferences that are going to give you a run for your money.
Yeah.
But talk a little bit about what it's like getting to play these guys that I always say you share a Walmart with.
Oh yeah, no, it is. No, it's fun because we all know each other. But like we all talk during the game. But like after the game, it's all about respect. We all care about each other, make sure no one gets hurt.
That's fantastic. That's what you like to hear. You know what I mean? You got to be a competitor when it's time to be a competitor,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things you've definitely shined about. When Cage Bozar is on the field, when you guys had a big game against Orange. Talk about going into that game and things you wanted to make sure you got done in that game in particular.
Really, we're only focused about winning. We just wanted to do what we wanted to do. We wanted the O-line to block. They did great. They did fantastic that game. And QB threw some good balls. We just played football.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You had a team coming in Orange. They're riding a high.
Yeah.
4-0. First
Yeah.
time that they've been 4-0 since probably before you were born.
Yeah.
And they come into this one high on the horse. You guys go out there and get it done. And all the way to the end because those guys never quit.
Yeah. No, it was a hard game. Yeah. It was 50-42. We just had to keep going.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. You got to keep scoring. The
Yeah.
name of the game is scoring more than they
Yeah.
did. And you guys did exactly that. You guys get to start off. You're going to open up conference play this week against Conneaut. Now, Conneaut has had a tougher start than they would like as well. They've taken some tough losses. Opened it up with an absolute thriller against Grand Valley. But it's a quality team. I think it's a well-coached team. They've got some big guys. They've got some great athletes. caveat aside, what does Cage Bozar have to do on Friday night to make sure that the Jefferson Falcons start off conference play with a win?
We just gotta play football.
Hey,
We just gotta play
that's a
football.
simple answer, and that's okay. Yeah, you got to play football. What are some things you're looking forward to? Have you guys done homecoming yet? Is that like what's going on with that?
Homecoming is against Lakeside.
Oh.
So I think it's the week after, the October 4th, whatever
Okay.
week that is. Yeah.
So that's a pretty big game. I know every game matters, but some games, they
Yeah.
get a little bit more juice than others, right?
Yeah. It'll probably feel the same. Terry's gonna be hyped about it. We're all gonna play good.
Well, I'll tell you what, you probably don't remember because you're a young guy, but that Lakeside Jefferson rivalry used to be a pretty big one.
Really?
Oh yeah, that was a pretty big one back in the day, and I think a lot of people in the community are looking forward to watching that. No pressure, go out there, play your game. No big
Yeah.
deal. If Cage plays the way Cage plays, you're gonna make big plays, no matter what it is. I'll tell you what, it's been an absolute pleasure getting to interview you this year. I knew you were going to be out here again. You're a big time athlete. What is one thing that you want people to remember about Cage Bozar?
Not even remembering me. It's just remembering the team, how we play together. I want them to remember my team other than just me.
I like that. He doesn't want you guys to remember Cage. He wants you to remember the teams that Cage was on. Cage, thank you so much for coming on the show. Congratulations.
Thank you.
This week's Player of the Week for Week 5. I'll get there eventually. It's Monday. Cage Bozar, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, this is Zell Bush.
Hi, this is Tom Flynn.
Hi, this is Steve Versetto.
Hi, this is Ryan Miller.
Hi, this is Rich Sakui from WRS Wealth Advisors.
With our combined 80 years of experience, WRS Wealth Advisors are the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services.
Or visit WRSwealth.com.
Go Raiders.
Go Dogs.
Go Cats.
Go Dogs.
Go Tigers.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
We believe expectations are made to be exceeded. At the new Toyota of Warren, it's about more than just getting a great deal. It's about service you can count on and a friendship you can trust. Year after year, we've done what we do best. We've gone the extra mile so you could too. Because we know it's just not about buying a new car. It's the start of a new adventure. Toyota of Warren, driven by you.
Nestled here in the beauty and splendor of Mill Creek Metro Parks are two of America's best golf courses, as selected by Golf Week magazine. Ranked number 9 in Ohio by TripAdvisor. Come play like a pro on these award-winning Donald Ross-designed courses. Enjoy a round with your kids and unwind with your favorite food and drinks in the grill room. For championship golf, look no further than your backyard. Mill Creek Golf Course.
All right, everybody, we're back here after that interview with Player of the Week, Cage Bozar. Just a fantastic week for this Jefferson Falcons team. You talk about a team that was really, they had a hump they had to get over. Building off of that regional championship year, the Cinderella year that they had, where they get all the way to the Big Bad Wolf in Glenville for that regional championship before falling, beating teams the likes of West Branch, Canton South, Poland. It was a great year for Jefferson. They followed that with a year where they actually go winless It was a difficult rebuild year for that Falcons team, but it was a team that never quit. And guys like Cage Bozar had to get to see the highs as well as the lows of that team. And, he never faltered. It's guys like that help build the program. And if you talk to Coach Hanna, he can't say enough great things about that young man. And I've had the honor and the pleasure of watching this young man go from a freshman that we were talking about. We didn't even have his number right on the first broadcast. We didn't even know where he was at. We just knew he was the fast kid running the ball. To watch him turn into this senior absolute monster for a Falcons team is one of the best things about doing what I get to do. It's getting to watch these kids develop into the great athletes and the great people that they really have become. And Cage Bozar is definitely one of those guys, a senior leader on this team, going out against a team that, you're 0-4, they're 4-0. That did not stop them at all. And when we go through and talk about the scores, head to toe from week 5, we're going to have some highlights from that game, courtesy of Matt Maher and YSN Live. If you want to go back and check out game highlights from, big wins that have happened on YSN Live, your home for high school sports, that's where you want to go check them out. They're on www.ysnlive.com. They're on our Instagram reels. They're on the Facebook page. They're everywhere, and they do a really, really great job of capturing huge moments in there. Want to go back to one comment in particular. He says, "Great job, dude. Who is the artist in the opening song?" And it's very rare that I get a chance to give the flowers and say thank you, because we've had this song for a couple years. But it's Trey Scruggs. Trey Lorenz is his artist name. He did a great job on that. That's something he came up with very, very quickly. I asked him if he could help me out. Trey is somebody I've known since I was a young man, and he was a younger man than me. Asked him if he could help me out. He put that together, and it's one of my favorite songs I've ever heard. Trey Scruggs really, they say you put your whole foot in that, and that's exactly what he did with that song right there. And this one is for the 440, which is why that is my sign off from going on. McTrusty says, "It's all about the team. That's an excellent athlete, team leader." And I think that is absolutely a great point to make. We asked Bozar about, what do you want to be remembered for? And he immediately, without skipping a beat, says, "I don't want to be remembered for anything. I want my team to be remembered. I want to be remembered as somebody who gave to this great team." And I could not have put together a better answer than that one right there. Again, he earned the name NASCAR from his freshman year because he makes the defense run in circles. They can't get their hands on him because he's, just a great athlete. But, you've gotten to watch him develop into not just a great athlete, but a leader. Great job for that young man. A great job for that Jefferson Falcon football team for developing that culture and creating these guys. But at this point, let's start talking about some of the leaders. And this has become both my favorite and least favorite part of the show, because every week I get, people asking questions on where I get my numbers from and that sort of thing. Let me clarify some of that right now. These numbers come directly from the coaches. So whatever numbers I get from the coaches on the offensive side, I'll give you the defense here in just a minute. Whatever offensive numbers I get from the coaches, those get put into an algorithm, and then we figure out who our leaders are. They do a great job. I'll tell you what, stat takers and stat keepers are at a premium right now. If you've got nothing to do on a Friday night or even probably a Saturday morning, they would take it. They need help out there. There's a referee shortage. There's a coaching shortage. There's a volunteer shortage out there. So if you really love these athletes and you really love high school football, if you approach your local head coach, local athletic director, I'm sure that they can find a spot for you. Lots of these teams are struggling to get these things done, and I'm sure that they would take any help that you could give. After all that, let's get into this week's leaders. All right, everybody, as we always do, we're going to start off with the guys who have an eye in the sky. It is the passing leaders in Ashtabula County right now. And through week 5, it is our week 4 player of the week. It's Dylan Burlingham with 959 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception. That kid is knocking on 1,000 yards door. That's something that he's got in his mind. He wants to grab it, and if he doesn't get that, I'll tell you what, I'll be as surprised as the next guy. 959 yards on 62 completions. Behind him is Edgewood's Nate Stewart, 52 of 94 with 577 yards. He's got 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Conneaut's Colby Stiltner with 58 completions for 570 yards. 5 touchdowns for that young man. And this one right here, this next one, is the biggest jump of the week. It's Lakeside's Omar Ambris. Omar Ambris with 547 yards. He's got 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. That kid threw for 300 yards against a very, very good Hawken offense or defense, excuse me. That Hawken game, 98 points scored in that one. The final score 60-38 with a huge second half comeback by the Lakeside Dragons. I'm sure we're going to be talking about that a lot more in depth on Wednesday when we head over to Los Compadres live for the Lake Show. In fourth is Vin Narducci with 281 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions for him. St. John did not play a game in week 4. That game against Richmond Heights, unfortunately, gets canceled. So all of their stats are going to stay right where they are. Ryan Croston is 11 for 30 for 274 yards. He's got 3 passing touchdowns. And Grand Valley's Sammy Goforth, 23 completions, 270 yards, and 3 touchdowns for the Mustangs quarterback. Now we're going to get into some bigger numbers here again. And this PV team is something special, folks. You're looking at that right, well over 1,000 yards, almost 1,400 yards in rushing for the PV Lakers through 5 weeks of play. Ryan Croston is going to lead the way with 714 yards. He's got 7 touchdowns on the ground. Right behind him is Ty Vickery. Ty Vickery, 623 yards and 8 touchdowns for the Lakers running back duo. Boy, they have been on absolute fire. A heartbreaker, they lose to the Girard Indians. They simply ran out of time in that one. We'll talk a little bit about the special teams when that game gets popped up. Conneaut's Isaiah Bull, who has taken the bull by the horns this year as far as rushing. He's got 548 yards for the Spartans. It's Andrew Soltis leading the way for the Grand Valley Mustangs. This is a much more run-heavy, concentrated team this year. And Andrew Soltis with 95 carries and 460 yards. He's got 6 touchdowns as well. J. Anthony Williams for the Lakeside Dragons. He is part of a 3-headed monster in that backfield. J. Anthony Williams, Devin Miller, and Nate Bartone. 3 excellent running backs, all of which offer a different skill set, but all of them can get it done with the ball in their hand. J. Anthony Williams with 349 yards, 1 touchdown for him. It's St. John's Ryan Williams dropping down into 5th place this week. 59 carries, 324 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns for the Heralds this year. Matthew Webster for the Falcons, 77 carries, 311 yards, 4 touchdowns, including a 60-yard plus run against Orange. This was a kid who took some time in the offseason, ran track, worked on the speed. The toughness was already there. You're not going to take him down with one defender. Now he's going to be able to run away from you as well. And then Lakeside's Devin Miller, 28 carries, 295 yards, including a 64-yard rushing touchdown against that Hawken defense in the second half. Devin Miller in the second half of that Hawken game had a game that most people can only dream of. 3 touchdowns, all of which were 60 yards plus. 2 touchdowns on the year rushing for Devin Miller. Receiving leaders going into week 5, this should come as a surprise to nobody. It's Cage Bozar, 29 receptions, 514 yards, 6 touchdowns for the Falcons senior. He is out there getting it done in a very, very talented wide receiving group. Conneaut's Ryan Turner right behind him with 29 receptions, but just 338 yards. He's got 4 touchdowns as well. Ryan Turner, of course, moving over from the offensive line position to the tight end position where he has been like a fish in water. The young man has made a big difference for that Conneaut passing attack. Devin Salinas going to be in third. He's got 19 receptions, 245 yards, 1 touchdown. Ben Schwartfigure from Edgewood, 14 receptions, 238 yards. He's got 3 touchdowns. Terry Brown, 10 receptions, 198 yards, 1 touchdown for him with the Jefferson Falcons. It's Devin Miller coming in next, 10 receptions, 192 yards, 2 touchdowns in the air. He got both of those against Hawken. Again, 2 of those plays going for well over 60 yards. Devin Miller had himself a game. Josiah Pope, 10 receptions for the Edgewood Warriors, 192 yards and 2 touchdowns. Lakeside's J. Anthony Williams with 7 receptions, 174 yards. He's got 1 touchdown. And St. John's Will Anderson with 12 receptions for 100 yards. Now, before we go into defense, we're still waiting on some more numbers based on interceptions as well as sacks and tackles for loss. So tonight we're going to give the tackle leaders. This could very well change by the time these are released on Thursday night. The way that the defensive numbers are put together. A solo tackle, which is a tackle that you make all by yourself, that counts for 1 point. If you have an assist, that's a tackle that you were involved with. That's half of a point. Sacks count for a point. Tackles for loss count for a point. All that put together comes together for a total tackle number. That's how it's calculated on this show. So if your numbers are a little bit different than what I've got, that's probably why. Your leader in the area right now is the Edgewood Warriors' Denver Kessler with 52 tackles. Right behind him is Conneaut's Josh Sabo. He's got 43.5 tackles. Edgewood's Michael Ochoa, he's got 43 tackles. Ryan Croston has 40 for the Lakers. Ryan Turner for the Conneaut Spartans with 37.5. J. Anthony Williams is tied with Tyree Anderson. Both of those Dragons have 37 tackles. And right behind them is Edgewood's Christian Brott with 33 and St. John's Will Anderson with 31. Those are this week's stat leaders right here in YSN Ashtabula. Again, YSN Ashtabula, that is all the teams that fall under that YSN umbrella. And if you're asking yourself, why is my school not on here? It's usually as simple as your school hasn't signed up with us. If you or your school is interested in joining YSN, we would love to have you. It's a simple, you reach out to me directly, any of the social medias. You can catch me on my email, 440andgoal@gmail.com. You can go to YSN Live or YSN at info or YSN Live at info and email them there. You can reach out to YSN directly. If you guys sign up for the coverage, we will be there. That's how we added the Perry Pirates this year. They wanted to be part of the family, and now we're going to be talking about them when we go through the games as well as giving the highlights for this week. Let's go into some of the game finals from week 5. So the Lakeside Dragons get into an offensive slugfest with the Hawken Hawks. 38-60 is the final on that one. And if you haven't had a chance to see Hawken play yet this year, they are a very, very talented team, especially offensively. They've got a quarterback that's about 6'5" with a rifle on his shoulder. Some wide receivers that can make big plays. They've got a great running back field. They do a great job of getting the ball in the end zone. Lakeside, their defense played much better in the second half than in the first half. The first half was a little bit more difficult, but they got it together, just, again, running out of time in that one. The Edgewood Warriors, they had a tough one this week. The West Geauga Wolverines coming off a big-time win over Lakeside the week prior. A comeback win in that one. They went in there with their hair on fire. They're able to get a big win in that one, 42-14 over the Edgewood Warriors. The Conneaut Spartans, they struggled against the Harvey Red Raiders, and it's very simple. It's Sean Alston. That young man is one of the best running backs that you are ever going to lay eyes on. He is, he was hurt for the first 2 weeks of the year for Harvey. He came back in week 3, immediately almost 300 yards. He hasn't been under 250 in any game since. Harvey is a team that people should be keeping their eyes on. And now we get to the Jefferson Falcons. And before we get into this game, we're going to go through some of the highlights in that game, and what a game it was.
6 minutes, 20 seconds. Once again, a quick feed. This time it's once again Bozar Bozar looks like he is off to the races. One man to beat, and he beats him for the touchdown. Ball to be snapped here. Burlingham drops back to pass, puts some air under it. He's got a wide open player, and just an absolute blown coverage as Cage Bozar just jogs into the end zone.
They have just been staying in this shotgun formation throughout this entire drive. But with some confidence, he throws, and Robinson hauls it in. No signal yet. Touchdown. How about Eli Robinson? 4 seconds remaining in the first half. As Burlingham trying to make a run of it. And Burlingham just gets through and squeezes through with a touchdown. How about that little juke? It's just a lot of mental mistakes.
Here's Fry. Drops back, and coming across is Schreibman, and he works his way in for a touchdown.
Moving methodically, but trying to cash it in.
And scoring there.
Once again, it's this stacked wide receiver formation as Burlingham hands it off and breaking free. Nothing but green is number 7, Matthew Webster. 2 running backs in the backfield. Here comes the man in motion. They are going to hand it off, trying to break free. It is a touchdown. That is number 17, Cole Schreibman. For Dylan Burlingham's Drew. And Burlingham, there he goes. He found that open crease, and he is gone for that 38-yard touchdown.
Continues to run as we take a minute 15.
And the bootleg out to the right side. Fry throwing wide open at the 10-yard line. Finding his way through. That is a touchdown.
So there you go. There are the highlights from that exciting game, 50-42. The Jefferson Falcons end up coming out on top in that one. And, I think that's exactly how they wanted to get their first win. You don't want anything too easy. You don't want to blow out a team. You want to go out there and earn it. And they earned it against a team that was undefeated at that point. Back and forth, a great offense going against a great offense. Defense really had their hands full on both sides of the ball in that game. As you can see, this Jefferson offense has big play ability, whether it's Cage Bozar for the 60-yard plus receptions, Matthew Webster with his ability to break open in the middle. You can't forget about Devin Salinas. You can't forget about Terry Brown. This is an offense that's really starting to feel themselves. You better keep your eyes tight on this Jefferson team. St. John, of course, had that bye week. We talked about that earlier in the show. Pymatuning Valley loses an absolute heartbreaker to the Girard Indians. 21-13, the final score in that one. At one point it was 21-7, and PV has a tough time at times playing from behind just because of the type of offense they play. It's such a run-heavy team that playing from a deficit is very, very difficult. They took that on and really did it well. Getting that point there, that touchdown there at the end of the game, they simply ran out of time in that one. If you talk to anybody at PV, I think what's really going to break their heart about this game is a couple special teams blunders. And it's not limited to just PV this year. Special teams in high school football this year has been trouble for everybody, whether it's giving up kickoff returns, giving up punt returns, muffing kicks, missing extra points, missing field goals. Special teams has been tough for almost every team in the county this year. And it's something that I know is keeping a lot of head coaches up at night and a lot of coaches in general trying to get those things, put together, because special teams, I think, is the part of the game that gets often overlooked, right? It's not something that everybody thinks is going to make a big difference. But when you're talking about the difference between them starting with the ball at the 35-yard line or your 35-yard line, it makes a big difference in the game. It makes a big difference in the way the plays are going to get called, and it's something I'm sure everybody's trying to work on and get better at right now. Grand Valley, they take on the Windham Bombers, and the Windham Bombers are a story this year, guys. 5-0 is the Windham Bombers record right now. This is a team that really, really struggled to find wins last year. But their story is Jack I. That young man is one of the best quarterbacks on YSN's network this year. He is able to make plays time after time after time. And we're in week 5 or going into week 6. So it's not like he's catching anybody off guard. You know, when you go against Wyndham, you are going to get a heavy dose of him. He is taking on the defenses face up and making big plays. And Grand Valley, while they did get some points on the board, the defense was just struggling to get him to get a stop on him. And again, it's nothing they've done because there are 5 other teams this year that haven't been able to stop him. I think the NAC this year is a very interesting conference and one that we should be keeping our eyes on because it's a year where there are a lot of talented teams in that conference. St. John right now with 1-3 is very, very talented. They've had some tough breaks against some very tough teams. You talk about the Steubenville Central Catholic game where they lose with 6 seconds left in the game after a rushing touchdown. That is the difference. They are 1 yard away from being 3-1 in 2 separate games. And before we go into this next one, this Perry-Geneva game, we've got highlights from that one as well, as the Perry Pirates really went out there, had themselves a night as well.
Low snap, Walter recovers, looks for Hopkins. He's got him open. He's turning upfield. It's over. Hand off up the gut. Some fake. They'll find downfield.
Touchdown, Pirates! Walter Moses drops it in the basket.
Field and intercepted by Chaponi. Touchdown, Hopkins. Sideline here, bunched up. Moses looking for the one-on-one. Deep ball. Savon beats his man. And it's an easy touchdown again. Fortunate penalty. Moses will drop back. Pressure coming in from the right. Gets it out quickly. Finds an open man down the middle. Touchdown, Pirates. Offense. Now Barbo lines up himself. He'll run himself and lock down. That running game is coming to fruition here in the second half. Moses to the outside, finds Savon, and once again in one-on-one. Beats his man. It's a getaway chase to the end zone. Diving in. Are they going to give it? They're holding. And they will give it. Savon for the triple, a hat trick of TDs in the air. That punches in this one. Richard steps back, fires towards the right. That'll be Costello moving through the middle of the field. First down and a bit more up to the 40-yard line.
All right, as you can see, your final in that one is the Perry Pirates 44, the Geneva Eagles 7. This is a very, very talented Perry Pirates team. Walter Moses is one of the most talented quarterbacks you'll ever lay eyes on as well. He's another big kid, big arm. He was part of that state championship team, so he's been in big moments. This kid has been tested. You can't overlook guys like Sivon. You can't overlook guys like Studio. This is a very, very talented Perry Pirates team in one of the most difficult regions in the state in Division 4, because the problem in Division 4 is no matter how well you do, you are eventually going to have to run into Glenville, and Glenville in Division 4 is Division 4 right now. So, you know, it's like the old wrestling adage, if you want to be the man, you've got to beat the man. They did it in Division 5. It's going to be interesting to see, can they get it done in Division 4 this year? You're going to be able to catch Perry week in, week out right here on ysnlive.com. And as for this Geneva Eagles team, also a very, very talented team. You know, both of these teams come in there. Perry's lone loss comes against the Kirtland Hornets in triple overtime as the Hornets go for 2 in that one to win that game. Geneva comes in there unblemished. And I'll tell you what, I would not be surprised if you don't see this Eagles team play with their hair on fire for the rest of the year. It's a very, very talented team. We're hoping one day to get them on YSN so we can talk about them a little bit more in depth. Those are your final scores from the week. And now let's go into week number 6 and talk about all the games that are going to be listed right here. You're going to be able to see right here on ysnlive.com. So we're going to start off. Lakeside has a big one this week as they will host the Madison Blue Streaks. So it was a tough game last week against Hawken. It doesn't get any easier this week as they go against this Madison Blue Streaks team. 3-2. Don't let the record fool you. This is a massively talented team that Lakeside is going to be going against. It is their homecoming game. So, magic happens on homecoming. We've seen it in the past. This is going to be a game where if Lakeside wants to win this one, they're going to have to go out there, play mistake-free football. The defense is going to have to step up against a Madison team that wants to get physical and play inside of a phone booth. They're going to have to rely on guys like J. Anthony Williams, Devin Miller, and Nate Bartone out of the backfield. Omar Ambris has improved every single week for this Lakeside team. He has now become a passing threat, certified threat. So it's going to be interesting to see what is going to be the approach for this Lakeside team. What we do know is they can score points. Can the defense step up and get it done? We'll find out this week. Edgewood and Geneva. This is one where if you are the Edgewood Warriors, you've had a tough start to the season. You've taken some losses against some very, very good teams. Your junior quarterback, Nate Stewart, has proven that he belongs there. The Pope brothers have found ways to make plays. You've got Schwartfigure, who is catching everything that is thrown around him. Riley Baldwin with the big play ability. Who is going to step up against this really, really talented Geneva Eagles team? You can't overlook the play of guys like Pete, guys like Barbo. Oh, and then there's another young man by the name of Deemer that can get out there and get busy on you. Geneva's got a lot of different guys that can score in a lot of different ways. It's going to be interesting to see. What is Edgewood going to do to counter that? Can Edgewood get an early lead on this one and make Geneva uncomfortable where they have to play from behind? Because if Geneva gets out ahead by a lot in the beginning with that wing T deep offense that they play, they genuinely can kill the clock on you. You can't make mistakes if you plan on winning that game. Jefferson will be heading against, I'm sorry, we left that Conneaut score on there. Jefferson is going to be heading to Conneaut this week to play the Spartans. Now, the Conneaut Spartans, who are 1-4, not 4-1. Jefferson with 1-4. It's 2 1-4 teams taking on each other. Jefferson has got to be on cloud 9 right now. They just went out and beat a team that was 4-0. Dylan Burlingham has shown himself to be statistically the best quarterback in the county right now. He is one pass away from 1,000 yards on the year. They've got guys like Cage Bozar who can stretch out defenses. If you make one mistake, he's going to score. You've got Matthew Webster who has solidified the running game for this Falcons defense. You've got Terry Brown, another young man, big playability, almost a 7-foot wingspan. The kid's another one who can, you throw those jump balls, he's going to be able to go up and get it. Devin Salinas has found his role in this offense as the guy who's going to run good routes and catch the underneath. You've got Joel Navarro, who is just a pure athlete that they can put in the backfield. They can put him out at receiver. They've got a lot of weapons out there. But if you look at this Conneaut team, this is a hard-nosed Conneaut team that when it comes down to winning football games, they want to bring it back down to the trenches. They want to follow guys like Bowles. The moment you start getting nosy and looking in the backfield too much, you've got a guy in Ryan Turner who bumps out to the tight end position this year, who's going to be able to make you pay by going over the top. He's a seam route demon. This is a very, very talented Conneaut team. This Jefferson Conneaut game is one that you're going to want to watch, and you don't have to miss it. It's going to be right here on ysnlive.com. St. John and Pymatuning Valley. This is one where I think a lot of people on the surface are going to think Pymatuning Valley takes this and runs completely away with it. PV comes into this one 1,400 yards rushing on the year. They do what they do, and they do it well. They haven't been tested when it comes to that running game. Even in the Girard game, they were able to get the running game the way they wanted to. This is a St. John team that's trying to find their identity. They've got talent in the wide receiving course. They've got a certified running back in Ryan Williams this year. who is going to make the plays for St. John to keep this one to be a game? Who is going to be able to break open the score? Are they going to go, Will Anderson over the top? If they try to do that, are you looking at a guy like Jace Folkman from PV who can pull it out of the air? Who's going to make bigger plays this week? That's what's going to determine this one. St. John and PV. That's going to be my game. I'll be there on Friday, calling it live at Geneva Spire. Grand Valley going against a very talented Fairport Skippers team. This is the week Grand Valley gets their first win. They have come close. They have played with teams. This is a Fairport team that has been up and down. Grand Valley is ready to take the reins, and it's going to happen this week. Grand Valley Mustangs, they're going to have to go out there. It's going to be a lot of Soltis, a lot of go forth, and a lot of scoring, and that's what Grand Valley is going to have to do to win this one. And then you've got the Perry Pirates versus Lutheran West Longhorns. And I'll be honest with you, Lutheran West has struggled this year. Perry has not. I think Perry wins this one and wins it handily. Walter Moses is a special quarterback. If you haven't had a chance to watch Perry yet, go over to ysnlive.com under the Perry tab and check out this football team. This is a very, very, very talented team. You're not going to want to miss it, and you don't have to, because it's right here on your home for high school sports. Those are the games coming up this week, and I'm really, really excited, as I am every single week. I want to take this point in the show again to thank Dan Sposito of Sposito Insurance. I want to thank the Crow's Nest for hosting us and allowing us to do this show here every single week. Make sure you come down here for some of the best food you're ever going to get. The burgers are phenomenal. The wings are delicious. If you're an adult, they've got a wonderful bar area with great bartenders. This is a restaurant that's very, very involved in the community. If you want to check out Trunk or Treat, it's on the 27th of October. Yours truly, I'll be here. I'm going to have my own car. It's going to be a great event right here at the Crow's Nest. They are doing a phenomenal job of not only being a great restaurant, but also being a pillar in the community. And for that, I am appreciative of them and always, always will be. It's been a great show, this one. I'm thankful for all of you who have tuned in. I can't wait to see you next week. Make sure you tune in here on your home for high school sports, ysnlive.com. My name is Sam Torres, and as always, folks, this is for the 440.
This for the football. This for the football. For the city in the back roads, got a whole county full of them goats. All from the football. Hey, it's just for Beulah County. Yeah, right on your head like a bounty. Said I'm from Beulah, they know I'm from Beulah, so let me just go talk about my surroundings. Shout out them Eagles that's out in Geneva, them Lakers, oh yeah, that's Palmetto and Valley. We from the football chasing these goals. If you in the way, you get taken out proudly. And Jefferson soaring with Falcons. Said that you working, you ain't really working. You see that we working, our hands got a callus. Putting in reps till we moving some mountains. Edgewood got warriors, they won't allow it. Me, I bleed green and gold, they know defeating those dragons who run the whole city. You wildin'. And they really bout it, yeah. And next we gon' go to Grand Valley. Work like a horse and don't show no remorse. So opponents keep coming, we stack them and pile them, yeah. And Connie, I flooded with Spartans. As soon as they pull up on game day, we park them. Cause we number one in that spot, ain't a bargain. Man, shout out St. John, they be ballin' like Harden. This for the football. This for the football.